All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of coffee Q&A here on the Onocoffee channel. I'm Jay, your host, and we do coffee questions and answers most Monday through Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern. How y'all doing? Welcome back to this very special live stream that we're talking about Christmas, because here it is, Christmas Eve, December 24th, and it's time to do the Christmas thing. So if you're in a country that celebrates Christmas, fantastic, Merry Christmas to you. If not, then, you're probably just living a normal day. But my family's originally from the Philippines, and so the Philippines is a very big country on Christmas and all of that. So what happens there is that Christmas decorations start like in September. They start putting decorations out, and from September until now, it's all Christmassy and really kind of interesting. Merry Christmas to you, Kent. How are you doing today? So I thought that we would prepare some things for you to have a little bit of an experience about what Filipino Christmas is like. So because Philippines is a very Catholic country, the midnight mass on Christmas Eve is a really important part of the celebration. So the midnight mass in Tagalo is called Simbang Gabi. Simbang meaning, or Simba, which is the word for mass. Gabi, night mass. Nang, Simbang is the NG, is just kind of like the one that brings it together, right? So a Simbang Gabi. And so you'll go to midnight mass, especially if you're in the province, right? My mom's from provincial town. So when I was young, we would go to visit for Christmas time to visit my lolo, my grandmother and grandfather. And of course, midnight mass is a big thing there. So you go to midnight mass, and of course, if you're Catholic like me, you just wanted to get it over with, right? Like you're a young child, you're like, man, this is taking forever. All this singing is just too much already. It's midnight. I want to go to bed. I want to get my gifts. That's all I care about. But when you're finished with the midnight mass, it doesn't just end there. It continues on until like 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, because you now go to your relative's house, you go to friends' houses, you all get together, and then you eat. So there's a thing about Filipino cuisine or Filipino culture, you're always eating. Like if you visit someone's house, the first thing they want to ask you, are you hungry? Would you like to eat? Have something to eat, right? So you go out, and the traditional foods are something that I've assembled here today. So we've got a nice spread. Mom, good morning to you. We've got, let's see here. We've got, first of all, we have bibingka. And this is the bibingka that has some egg. And bibingka is a rice cake that is cooked typically over fire on what is this? The banana leaf. So you cook that over fire, really nice. This is actually one of my favorite things for Christmas time, especially in the province of my mom is from Nueva Ecija. This is something that's very popular. So you go out, you find the vendor, or there's somebody outside just cooking this over fire, and you're like, oh my gosh, man, it's delicious. And we're going to have that with some butter and some freshly grated coconut. Then another thing you're going to have also is the ham, the traditional Christmas ham. So we have a little bit of this sweet ham here. Another thing you're always going to have is pandesal. Pandesal is basically the daily bread of the Philippines. You will find this pretty much all across the country in almost every neighborhood. Kioni, aloha kalikimaka to you as well. And these are freshly baked. Well, if you're in the Philippines, they're freshly baked. Here, they're not so freshly baked unless you happen to live in a very special area where there's a lot of Filipinos, where I don't. But these are like lightly sweet bread, not like Hawaiian sweet bread. Hawaiian sweet bread, while I think Hawaiian sweet bread is very lightly sweet, this is even lighter, sweeter than that. So just a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of leavening. This is really something that's developed over the last 150 years, 120 years or so. Maybe even less, because this comes from wheat, and the Philippines is not a wheat growing country. So this is a wheat-based product instead of a rice-based product. So it's something that's a relatively new thing, and we're going to have that with some butter as well. Love butter. And then there's the other important thing that goes with the Trinity. So the Trinity for Christmas is really these three: the pandesal, the ham or hamon, and the Queso Deola. The Queso Deola is actually this wax ball, this ball of cheese that is wax coated And you might be like, oh, that's kind of like Edam cheese from the Netherlands. And you would be right, because there's a very strong similarity. So even though the Philippines was dominated by the Spanish for 400 years, there were some intrepid Dutch that wanted to do some trading with the Filipinos, and there was the exchange of cheese. And so this cheese, evolved and became its own thing, Queso de Bola, but it has its roots in Edam. So if you eat this and you eat Edam cheese, they're very, very similar in character as far as texture, silkiness, the more milder flavor, right? It's not like sharp like a cheddar. Let's open that up here. So we take the plaster. Now this is something that, some of these things like the Queso de Bola comes from a company called Magnolia, right? Magnolia. And this is actually manufactured in the Philippines. So this is the true authentic flavor of what you would have there. So if you were in the Philippines, if we were in the Philippines today and we were having a party, going to a party tonight, or actually at this moment, oh no, that's not what I said. I was going to say at this moment, it's all happening. It's kind of happening at this moment in the Philippines. It's like 10 p.m. So people are getting ready to go to mass. People are preparing this same food to eat later for us later this afternoon. And so we got the Queso de Bola. Let's open this up a little bit. So this is from the Philippines, and this also, the bibingka I got from the Philippines. I found it at the local store. There's a company called Ferino's bibingka rice cake. So you can buy this at the Asian market or Filipino markets, depending where you are. Keone, you could probably get some of this in wherever the Filipinos live in Bangkok and get much more fresher stuff. So we've got the cheese here. Let me open this cheese because it's kind of difficult to open. Knife, here we go. So I'm going to open this up. And even this red paper covering, it's still red on the inside. I don't know why it's red, but that's all right. This is the crazy thing, is that this Queso de Bola is actually super difficult to find here. Like, I asked my mom, I asked my aunt, I said, who has Queso de Bola? And they're like, nobody has it. We called the stores, nobody has it. And I happened to go to this Filipino store yesterday called A-Mart here, and they happen to have it. I was like, oh, fantastic. So this is going to be our spread today. But first, we want to have coffee because, this is the coffee Q&A. So we want to get the coffee. And we also have a little bit of dessert beyond all of this to try as well. So the rice cake comes from the Philippines. The ham actually is American ham, Hatfields, sweet brown sugar ham coated. We have a little bit of Kerrygold pure butter. And then the pandesal comes from a place in Virginia called Mabuhay Bakery. Mabuhay Bakery, which is in Springfield. I have not tried this before, so we will have to see how it's, but it should be fine. Keone says there is a Thai dish that is similar to bibingka here. Ooh, I like that. Anything with rice, anything with sweet rice cakes, I kind of like. Okay, so let's make some coffee before we begin. We'll just make sure our water is nice and hot. We got this. Okay, so we've got... I was looking for coffees from the Philippines because, since we're having Filipino meal, I have a little bit of this coffee here from Cherry Kabunday. So Cherry Kabunday, which is roasted by my friends Bombi and Thomas at Coffee Culture Roastery in Bacolod. We only have a little bit left, so we're going to have to go and do a little bit, not testing, but we're just going to have to change it. But the best things that we use are basic ratio and formula, so it's easy. So 2 grams for every finished ounce. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how many grams of coffee we actually have, and then work from there. All right, let's turn on our fellow Tally Pro SE. We're going to take everything out of this one. What do we got? Oh, we have 17 grams of coffee. We will divide that in 2, which means that we have 8 ounces of coffee to make. So we're going to add 8 ounces of water to make this free range. Hello and good morning to you, and pleasant Christmas Eve as well. So we're going to have I decided that, okay, we're gonna brew this. So instead of having to worry about brewing and pouring and all this, I thought I'd make it a little bit simple by using the Hario switch. This is a little nod to Peter. He loves the Hario switch. He finally got a new one after he had this whole fiasco where the chipper broke his, and he was very sad. It was very sad. It was very sad. We're very sad for you, Peter. We're very sad. But I think Peter might be off on another research trip this week. Okay, let's put that over here. We got our Hario switch. And the nice thing about the switch, we can put right here on the surface. We don't have to do too much rigmarole. Now, the thing about the Hario switch, the Hario switch is that it is a full immersion brewer. So we can just, grind it a bit coarser. And something like that. Okay, so we're going to take our filter. I like to fold over the seam. Free range says, never done a pour over. Well, you know what? We will do more pour overs here. This is, you could technically do the pour over, like the switch is basically the Hario V60 that has a valve here. And so this little lever controls the valve. It pushes this ball bearing. There's a ball in here. You can see the ball, right? Pushes up, down, right? So if you pushed it up, you could just totally use this as a pour over, as you would most normal things. Let me zoom in a little bit more. But if not, you don't have to do it that way. Now we've got our fellow tally, the fellow ode. Gosh, so many fellow. We're going to go pretty darn coarse because we're going to use full immersion. So which means we're going to put the coffee in, add the water, let it steep, and then at 3 minutes, we're going to pull it. So I'm going to bring it to fairly coarse, all the way to 9. I'm not going all the way coarse. I probably should, but I'm not going to. Why? I don't know. That's how I feel today. And then we're going to put this on top here. Okay, we've got all of our coffee. The coffee from Cherry is a very natural processed coffee. So it's got this really lovely red fruit tone smell to it. And here's our coarseness. So pretty lightly roasted and a good coarseness there. We're going to also tear our scale out because we want to see, do we have much retention? 17.2, I think we don't have any retention in this thing. That's really kind of nice. Okay, so we've got 17.2, and we need to change the modes, go to brew assist. The nice thing about this that I'm really enjoying is that it now will tell me how much based on, that's not the ratio we like to use, is it? We use 14.5. There we go. Now, 1 to 14.5 ratio, we're going to use 247 grams of water and brew up our coffee that way. So let me get the water into the kettle here. I'm going to be using the Hario Fit kettle, which I really like as a general use kettle. Very, very nice. I always put a lot of water so that I get good thermal holding energy. Okay, press that. Is that right? Okay, now we're ready to go. Keone, by the way, we are having, for all those of you wondering, the new coffee bar tour video comes out today at 11:30, so in about an hour. So we're going to add a little bit of water just to saturate the grinds, starting off with the thyme. Coffee Cove is with us. Good morning, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas to you, Coffee Cove. Thank you for sharing the Filipino Christmas tradition. Really enjoy these videos as well. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. We've got lots to eat today, Okay, so now we have 50 grams and 30 seconds. Now we're going to go to full volume. We're going to go 247 is our target, right? So we're just going to add water all the way to 247. Because we're just using full immersion. So now we don't need to worry about pouring. We don't need to worry about any of these other things that we normally have to worry about with pour over brew. Okay, 247. Look at that. Like a pro, like a boss, huh? So, okay, now we've got the coffee brewing. Now we're gonna get everything else ready. So some of the other things we need to get ready, we're gonna put this to the side because we got other stuff to get into today. that are kind of more important than the coffee, right? Like, for example, this lovely dessert called leche flan, right? This is leche flan. Again, Spanish influence, but with a Filipino style. This actually, I asked my mom to make this. My mom makes excellent leche flan. I can't make it as good as she does. So it's like, I needed to have leche flan. So she was like, I'll make it. I was like, oh, thanks. Just make me actually, I needed to have one for a party today that I'm going to. My cousins and I get together on Christmas Eve. And so we go, it's kind of our own like Noche Buena, but like earlier in the day, early in the night. And we usually, so basically, I asked her to make one, and I was like, oh, can you make another small one? I'll use it on the live stream. And she's like, of course. Now we're going to take this. Now here's it's already fully cooked. So what this is, you'll basically take sugar, caramelize in the bottom of your container. Then you're going to add your sweet condensed milk, sugar, and all this other stuff. Not too much stuff. I don't actually know, eggs, of course. And then you bake it in a shallow bath, in a water bath, right? So now, Kent says the Edam cheese is a Christmas tradition here in Norway as well. Oh, wow, awesome. Oh, so you, Kent, are in Norway. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Happen to be in Oslo, close to Tim, maybe? Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to, since it's baked in here, we need to, cut along the edge and to unmold it. We got to unmold it. So I'm going to cut along the edge here while we're waiting for this thing. We are 2 minutes, 45 seconds for the coffee. Okay. So let's, actually we should do this. So we should do let's go back to the coffee for a second. Let's go back to the coffee. We're at 3 minutes now. So 3 minutes now, we're going to take our brewer or kettle, brew pot, and we're going to put that on top of here, right? Oh, everything is dangerous by doing this. Why am I doing it so much more difficult? And then we just pull the lever or push the lever, and the coffee, as you can see, is flowing down into the bottom. And that's it. It's really simple. This is kind of like the Abbott Clever is also like this. And any kind of immersion brewing. I like immersion brewing, especially when I'm preparing breakfast or something, because it's just so much easier. I don't have to worry about it. No muss, no fuss, just let it rock and roll. So whether I use this or the Abbott Cover, which gives you the benefit of filtration, so you get cleaner coffee, or if you want to do French press, they both work equally well. Just give you a little bit of a different type of experience. Now we've got the coffee has flowed through. Right? There's a lot less than we're normally used to because, well, we have a lot less coffee. So we're going to get rid of this. Now the easy thing is just flip it away, and then you can rinse that out later. Now, since we're going to be babbling on for a little while longer, I've got a little silicone top that we're going to use to hold the temperature of the coffee for a little while longer. Put that aside. Okay, so back to our flan. Kent says, not Oslo, but the second biggest city called Bergen. Oh, excellent. Saw Coffee's here with us. How are you, Saw? Good morning. Wonderful looking. Oh, thank you. I should explain what that is, shouldn't I? All right, so we're going to put this over here, and then basically you flip it, right? Hopefully you have centered it. And we kind of let gravity do its thing. Now, like Sam mentioned, I am wearing the barong Tagalog. So this is what's called the barong Tagalog. The barong Tagalog is basically the traditional dress of the Philippines. Now, this is something that you typically wear for special occasions, formal wear. This is like the warm country's formal wear. Similar in effect to the guayabera from the Caribbean or from Cuba, another country. So did I not cut it enough? Normally it slides out a lot easier than this. Let me try this one more time. Otherwise, it may be just, good thing. We're going to put that aside then. We're going to put that aside here while we do the rest of this. Okay, so now, like I was saying, so this particular one is actually a really nice one. So, oh no, this is not a really nice, this is a nice one. It's not. So the whole thing is that you've got this very lightweight fabric, And most people will actually traditionally you wear a white t-shirt underneath it. Today I'm wearing a black t-shirt that has a flag design on it, right? So it's kind of, I like this kind of surreptitious, messaging on shirts, on the undershirts when I go to formal events. So this is the one that I had made for this one event I went to. But basically, the really high-end ones, right, are made with something called piña cloth, made from fibers made from the pineapple, right? So literally, they take the pineapple, they beat it down, they make it into fibers, and then they weave it. But this is not piña. This is actually something else that's a little bit more inexpensive, right? It's smoother, it's silkier. And then, of course, the big thing with the barong is the actual embroidery work. So you do this very, ornate embroidery work that goes all over, right? It goes all over. Or maybe there's nothing on the back. Otherwise, on this one, there's back. Some of them are a little bit more simpler than others, and then they have some that are made of linen. If you're of the kind of person that has a household staff in the Philippines, you may be of a certain level that will have your staff wearing not this kind of dressy barong, but more of a very simpler linen style barong with very, very simple decoration. You may have household staff that will wear that. But yeah, very, very popular. So now we've got to get to our queso de bola. The cheese is the important part, right? The cheese is what's important about, my buttons are coming undone. The cheese is what's important with this meal. So like I said, after Mass, after the Simbang Gabi, the midnight Mass, you'll go out to your relatives, to your friends, and you'll gather and you'll eat and you'll drink. We're not going to drink today, but typically you'll drink. When Filipino men are together, there's always some kind of drinking. Usually San Miguel beer. Maybe the crazy ones drink the lambanog, which is the homemade moonshine, right? So, okay, so let's look here. We're going to get our queso de bola. So we will just cut into this. Oh, it's a lot harder to cut into than I was expecting. Okay, just a little slice. We don't need to go too crazy. The nice thing about this, I can use this for later and tomorrow. So as we talked about, like Edam, they have this wax cover. We don't eat the wax, right? We don't eat the wax. I mean, you could, but it may not be as delicious. And here's a slice of it, so you can see the queso de bola, and get that. And then there's a little bit of waxiness on my knife. Anyway, Naomi says, "I'm so late. Are we looking at treats?" Yes, these are the traditional, what we call Noche Buena, the night Christmas Eve eating foods. Christmas Eve meals that we would have after the midnight Mass. So, like I said, if you go to midnight Mass, in the Philippines, you go to midnight Mass tonight, right? You go to midnight Mass, and then afterwards you go to friends or relatives' house and you eat until like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m, and then you go home, you sleep, you wake up, and then in the afternoon you go do something for Christmas, right? So, but one of the holy trinity of this Noche Buena is these three. This is the queso de bola, the ham, and the pan de sal. So we're going to have a little bit of that. We're going to cut ourselves some ham, right? Cut ourselves some ham. Oop. Probably that's too much ham. Some cheese. And we're gonna some bread here. Now you can we typically will put butter, right there, butter. I got some Kerrygold butter here. We'll put butter. Although I think a lot of Filipinos will use margarine. I saw some margarine from the Philippines at the market yesterday. I was like, should I get that? I was like, no, because I will never eat it past that. Like I have an aversion to margarine. So we've got our stuff here, right? There's the butter. So just kind of, you can make it to a sandwich. You don't have to. And then we need the coffee. All right, to be honest with you, the coffee's good. It's just weird. Because I never normally drink coffee with this meal. Usually for me, it's Diet Coke. Diet Coke is good. Okay, so that's good, man. Oh, that's nice. Okay. So that's the nice thing about the cheese, right? And there are a few different brands. This is the Magnolia brand. Which, to be honest, is probably not the best version of the Queso Deola. There's another brand that I've had, actually I had last week, that was really darn good. My friend Jen Maranya, she was able to get some, and I was like, now I'm going to have to call her and ask her, hey, Jen, which one did you get last week? Because that was hella good. This one has a lot of the qualities, right? It's got a good, right? If you look at the texture here, it will break. It has a good creaminess. It has a nice flavor, but the flavor is kind of like this mixture of Edam and Velveeta. So it's a little bit more of a processed cheese. It's a lot, whereas the ones I've had before, but the one that Jen got is very creamy. This has a creaminess to it, but it's creaminess like Velveeta would be. If you can imagine a harder Velveeta, that's kind of the texture that this is. Not unpleasant, just not as good. The ham, Hatfield, sweet brown sugar ham, perfectly fine. Actually, I was at the grocery store yesterday and found these two. My aunt was also there. She was like, what are you doing here? I was like, what are you doing here? And how fortuitous it was for me, because she was like, what are you buying there? And I was like, I'm buying this for my live stream for the Noche Buena. She's like, I will buy that for you. I was like, well, you don't have to do that. I'll buy that for you. And here's the thing. So no matter how old I may be today, I still fall under hierarchy, right? So when someone above me in the food chain, kind of insists, you really can't say no. So it's like, all right, which was great, because I was like, oh, all right, thanks. I appreciate that. But still very nice. I mean, very nice, very nice. So, and the pan de sal this is from a place called Mabuhay Bakery in Springfield, Virginia. Actually quite pleasant. When I was a child, my Lola, my grandmother on my father's side, I don't know if she owned the bakery or she just leased the bakery space then, but there was a bakery attached to the house. So every morning when I was like maybe 5 years old, 6 years old, when we were visiting, it was like hot pan de sal every morning. It was so amazing. I don't remember if that was like this or not, but this is actually pretty darn good. Noni says that totally missed the coffee. Pour over this is we actually use the Hardio switch to make the coffee from Cherry Cabanday, a producer in the Philippines. Natural process, got a nice red fruit in it, roasted by Thomas and Bombi at Coffee Culture in Bacolod City in the Philippines. So I tried to bring as much stuff from the Philippines as possible. Some we had to make, or some we had to source locally. Okay, so I can't help but nibbling on that. But let's move on to the next thing. The bibingka, right? So this is the bibingka. Like I said, when you go to the province, Free Range says a lot of commercials. Sorry about that. Sorry. I don't really have much control over that. we have our bibingka, right? So bibingka is actually this rice cake. This particular one has like some salted eggs, I think they're in it, is in this particular one. Let's see what they say here. Ground rice, sugar, eggs with salted egg, and queso pote, white cheese toppings. Okay, good. So we have white cheese toppings. So I'm showing, I'm not even switching cameras, but anyway, let's look here. So we see some egg. There's salted egg, and here's just going to give a little saltiness. And what we want to do is how hot? It's still a little bit warm. This is one of the vagaries of doing live television, is that, or just doing production television, is that it doesn't stay as hot as you'd like. Like all those guys on television that are doing like the Top Chef, they're eating those meals like hours later, so it's totally not hot. So they're like really good at pretending. I'm not necessarily that good at pretending. So we've got our butter. We've got some butter on here, and we also want some freshly grated coconut to go on top. And now, to make the freshly grated coconut, you need to get one of these. And I've already forgotten the name, but this is the traditional Filipino way of making your whatever, grating your coconut. You take the half coconut and you like this. Peter, how are you, man? Good to see you. Like that. And you grate the coconut as thus. So I was telling my mom that, I need to go do this live stream. And she was like, you need to have freshly grated coconut. I said, I'll just get the regular coconut, whatever, the desiccated, it'd be fine. She's like, no, we must make that. And so she actually, just a little, not too long ago. And this is called, and I forgot the name of this already. She was telling me the name of this there. But this device, this little tool that's attached to this block, which, so evidently the block they made here. I guess that my dad made this here years ago. But this tool is from the Philippines. So during one of our trips when I was young, visiting, they bought this back because they needed to have freshly grated coconut. And I grew up with this around. Like this was like, my father would sit on this and so you sit there like this, right? You sit on it and you just kind of and that's what I remember from being young. And it's like, this is kind of awesome. I can't believe it's still here. I wonder if he made this. Like, I'm so curious. So we'll put that back down here. So if you really want to be hardcore, that's one way to do it. Now we're going to take that and we're going to, Naomi says, I'd love to see your mom. Maybe one day, Mom do. Maybe one day. So we will have get our freshly grated coconut, put it on top. Why am I doing that? We got to cut it. We got to cut a piece out. And it's very delicate. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got the coconut. You could put a lot of coconut. You don't have to be so stingy with the coconut, right? We have a lot of coconut. And then there it is. Now let's go here. Peter with his coconut grater. Yeah, I know it's coconut grater. That's pretty good. I'm used to the bibingkas like this that are super huge, like huge. They get big like that. This one's a little bit soft, but the nice thing is if you look here, right, the crumb. I like the crumb. Look how long striated it is there. It's actually the texture for a frozen product that's been shipped across the planet. It's actually pretty darn good. More coffee. Now, let's move on. The one thing that's kind of weird about this, right, and I think it's because of the distance, the egg always is like too hard. Oops. Let's put that aside. Ooh, that's good. This cutting board I just made. I just made this. I just finished it last week. I took a class for the last couple weeks on wood making, wood shop, right? So a course called Introduction to Wood Shop at the local woodcraft here in Baltimore. And, you know, really what it's about learning how to use the equipment like table saws, joiners, planers, all this equipment that I don't really have any experience using. You know, I have experience doing like light carpentry with like, you know, saws, you know, like circular saws and stuff like that, doing like really kind of rough kind of work, but better quality work I've not done. So I was curious about learning this. And so one of the things to learn all these new techniques and how to use these machineries is to make a board. And so made this, and the instructor, a guy named Ryan, really nice guy, really great guy, really truly knowledgeable about woodworking. Turns out his wife used to work for me quite a few years ago. I was like, what? Your wife worked for me? Does that mean you hate me? I don't know. Okay, so now we're going to our, let's see if it comes out. Has it come out? Has it come out? Yes, here we go. The big reveal, Peter says Christmas in 30 minutes. All right, man. Good to see you. Well, thank you, Maku and Naomi. This is walnut with ambrosia maple. So you can see these little like black spots here. These are fillers that I put in because these colorations in the wood are actually caused by these beetles or worms, the worms that crawl in here. And the worms, whatever they do in here, they secrete something that actually colors it. So you always find these holes with these striations. Ambrosia maple with, so yeah, this is leche flan. Oh, there's always a lot of caramel crystallized sugar down there. And this is leche flan from the Philippines. My mom made this for us. And it is, I've tried a lot of flans. And you know what, I'm biased because, you know, she's my mom, of course. There's no denying that. But I think qualitatively, and this is something that other people have told me as well, this is some of the best flan ever. Like, she has some kind of like savantness about the flan. So we used to offer it at Spro on a regular basis. She would make it for us. My mom is kind of crazy. Like, she wants to bake and bake and bake. And like, she works her regular job and then comes and bakes. I'm like, oh. So when we finally moved away from the library to the new shop and I had a whole bakery team working, it also meant that I was, you know, she wasn't going to be baking for us like she used to. I felt kind of guilty about that because I was like, I felt bad that she was baking all this. And I'm like, you need to like not bake. So you need to not work so much. She's like, I like it. And then like we built a bakery and then she was like, oh, I don't have to bake as much. I was like, no. And then I felt guilty. I was like, oh, now I feel guilty. It's like terrible. Anyway, so the flan, Naomi used to love these before the switching to vegan. Well, maybe this is why you should switch back. All right, so here we go. We're gonna cut a little wedge. So the flan, but it's not just flan. It's in the Philippines. It's always leche flan, right? We're very particular about the leche part, right? Because milk flan, even though it's always milk, but look at that little wedge. Actually, it's such a pretty wedge. I wish I had my phone. Where's my phone? I have no idea. I would take a photo of it. But let's see the crumb here. You can see that I'm going to hold on to it a little bit. Too much light. No, these are with regular eggs, Peter. So, okay. One should never have a big slice like that, but because it's Christmas, it's okay. But, oh, so thick. So, that's super good. That's nice and thick and creamy. Sometimes you get flans and they're kind of cakey. I don't like that. It has to be creamy and oh my God. I could totally house this right now. Actually, I would like to house everything here. Never says yes. It's kind of hard to make a light textured flan. Most are dense. This has the balance. It's not light. I would definitely not say it's light. There's a balance between dense and light here. There's a happy medium that she somehow has found. And I've tried to make it, and I have not been that successful. Plus with the eggs, plus to have this with coffee. Okay, now we're gonna drink all the coffee. Oh, how's the coffee? Nice and lightly roasted. Light, you guys, those of you who are light roast would love coffee. But as long as you like naturals, right? This is a natural, so it's got that fruitiness to it that people that don't like naturals hate. But very nice, very nice. Coffee culture roastery in Bacolod. I think they'll ship most places. So if you want, give them a call. Thomas and Bumby. Yeah, exactly, Naomi. Eat it all. I want to eat it all myself too. And the Japanese sell a form of that in a pudding cup. They cook. Yes. Actually, I watch these videos, right, or see these articles about different like kisatens that just seem interesting. And then once I see a place that I'm interested in, I just put it in my Google Maps and I tag it with a tag under places I want to visit. So I've got all these places, like actually a lot of places all over the world that are just like, but one of them was a flan place, a pudding place. I was like, the old dude, that's all he makes is the pudding and the coffee. And I was like, I gotta go there. I gotta go there. That's the next time I go, I gotta go there. I gotta go. And yeah, the coffee's not cloudy today. Because we're using the switch with the filter. So nice and clean. Ooh. Mamma mia. Go back to a little bit of cheese. So Peter's asking, what's the difference between flan and creme brulee? The major difference is that brulee has less texture, has less structure, right? So, for example, if I remember correctly, the basic ingredients are essentially the same: sugar, milk, some kind of milk, and eggs, right? And the ratios are going to be different. But where it changes, right? So, for example, if you took creme brulee, it really wouldn't sit like this, right? Like you couldn't really, you could unform it, but it would be too pudding. Like it really is like a pudding, right? So you got the custard. It's really like custard. So you got the custard, and then you got the sugar top that you crack. So it's got that really super creamy custardy taste, where this one it's just more set. And I don't know if that's necessarily due to the way that it's the ratio of the ingredients or the way that it's cooked necessarily. And it's been such a long time since I've made either that I don't have a definitive answer for you on that. But that's based more on my eating rather than my cooking of it. That would be my interpretation of the difference. So when I get more of the bibingka, oh my goodness. And then the best thing when you make your flan, right? You got this container that has the sugar in it. Like if you really if you want to eat more flan without anyone noticing that you've assaulted this, like let's say this is perfectly round, you could just go in here and scrape off the leftover bits and eat that. Oh my goodness. All right, well, that's pretty much the Filipino Noche Buena. We've got the ham, the queso de bola cheese, the pan de sal. We've got the bibingka, preferably cooked over fire, but if you don't have fire, you can do that. And leche flan. You got all these things and come together. A little bit of coffee. Actually, the traditional thing that you drink with a lot of this, I think, is what we call the chocolate, right? And basically that is locally grown chocolate that is formed into what's called tablea, basically like little tablets, right? Thick tablets that come in a little roll. And what you do is you take those tablea, you mix it with some sugar, you mix it with some milk or some water, and you put it in a pan and you heat it all up. And then you use this, I think it's called a martillo, the hammer. Is it called a hammer? I don't know what it's called. But you'll see these. This is where like the intersection of Mexican and Filipino cultures really kind of shows, because under Spanish rule, it was the governor of Mexico, the governor of Mexico, that was overseeing the Philippines. So a lot of the trade with Spain came through from the Philippines, came through Mexico to Spain, and then Spain, Mexico, Philippines, right? So there's very strong symbiosis between the cultures because of this connection. And in making the chocolate is one of the big connections, very, very easy connection. So in the Philippines, we have this thing. It's this elongated like bat that has this kind of like, imagine like a grenade looking bottom to it, right? It's all made out of wood. The Mexicans have something very, very similar looking, and they put like little wooden rings on it, I guess, to get more mixing or whatever. But in the Philippines, you take this and you put it in that pot with the chocolate and the milk, and you roll it so that the thing spins like a beater. And I think the same thing is done in Mexico, right? You do this, so it's like, and that what gives it mixes the chocolate into the drink. It makes it a little bit of frothy, and it's really a wonderful way to do it. And the chocolate that you're using there, which I guess is, I mean, if you get the chocolates from Mexico now, like the Ibarra or the Abuelita, those are a little bit more refined, but they're still very rustic compared to, let's say, Hershey's in the way, the texture and the execution. Most of the tablea in the Philippines is a little bit more rustic than that, right? So if you look at like Abuelita, that's actually very like refined compared to the tablea in the Philippines, which gives you a little more grit, a little bit more like soulful kind of chocolate. Like it's not that sweet chocolate, it's kind of a guttural chocolate kind of experience. No vanilla, no, oh yeah, in this, I'm sure there's vanilla. I'm sure there is vanilla. Like I said, I just don't have the definitive answer because I haven't made it in a very long time, but I'm sure there's vanilla, sugar, sweet condensed milk, maybe evaporated milk, eggs, and I think that's really it with vanilla. Yeah, don't take my talking here to be the absolute authority on the actual ingredients. I would have to consult with my mom and ask her and ask for her recipe for me to know for sure. All right, so that's pretty much what I have for you today. The new video drops on this channel in about 40 minutes. I set it for 11:30 today, so it's now 11:50. So today it's the video called Coffee Bar Tours, and basically it's a video that explores different people's coffee bar setups at home. So we've got Keone and Omniel that have I was asked them to do the first episode. So have a look at it. Hope you enjoy it. But if you're interested in sharing your coffee bar setup, please make a video and let me know. And I actually go through, when you watch the video, I actually go through a lot of what we're looking for, like a horizontal 1080p would be really nice. Different parameters, but there's no real parameters. Kind of do whatever you feel like and show us your setups and why did you and what I think would be interesting is when you have your setup, how did you come to decide where you put it? How did you come to decide what you put on it? What were the compromises you made with your setup? What would you like to improve in the future? Things like that I think would be very interesting for everyone and help others, in their journey as well. And I think that'd be really a great thing. Mom, have a great day and holiday. And you too, man. Have a great day off. And to all of you, thank you very much for tuning in. Have a very Merry Christmas. We probably will be doing another episode tomorrow because, you know what? What am I doing? I might as well do something on Christmas morning because nothing's happening, I think, at 10 o'clock. I don't think anyone's coming. I don't think we have to get together with anyone until about 12. So probably have another live stream tomorrow if you're not so busy. All right. So hope you have a wonderful day. Merry Christmas to you. And happy Noche Buena. And Merry Christmas to you as well, Naomi. So have a wonderful day out there and see you next time. Peter, check you out later. And enjoy your Christmas out there as well.